So picture this. Your commander Zilent, a crystalline being whose job is basically cosmic people watching at the most boring spot in the galaxy. We're talking about monitoring Station Delta 7 near Kepler 442, where absolutely nothing happens. Ever. Zilent has been stationed here for 6 rotations, which is about 12 Earth years, and the most exciting thing that's happened was when a space whale got lost and bumped into their outer sensor array. The station itself is your typical cooperative design, all flowing curves and biogrow materials that pulse with soft, calming lights. Everything's designed to keep you peaceful and centered, which sounds great until you realize you're going slowly insane from boredom. Zilent spends most days running routine diagnostics, cataloging empty space, and playing three-dimensional chess with the station's AI. So when the console starts beeping that Tuesday morning, and yes, they use Earth time zones because humans will show up later in our story, Zilent doesn't even look up at first. False alarms happen all the time. Could be solar wind interference, could be a chunk of space debris, could be literally anything except something actually interesting. But the beeping doesn't stop. It gets more insistent, like an alarm clock that refuses to be snoozed. Finally, Zilent drags himself over to the detection array, expecting to find some cosmic background noise that got amplified by accident. Instead, there's a signal. Not just any signal, but an electromagnetic transmission that makes absolutely zero sense. Picture finding a message in a bottle floating in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, except the ocean is space, and the bottle is made of technology that went out of style when your great-great-great-grandfather was young. Now, Zilent has been trained for this job. The Galactic Cooperative doesn't put just anyone in charge of monitoring the frontier regions. But this signal breaks every rule in the book. First off, it's using radio waves, actual, honest-to-goodness radio frequencies. That's like finding someone using a telegraph in the age of quantum communication. The Cooperative abandoned electromagnetic communication about 3,000 years ago when they discovered bioneural networks. Why send crude radio signals when you can transmit pure thought through living conduits? It's faster, cleaner, and doesn't interfere with natural space phenomena. But here's the signal, chugging along on primitive frequencies, repeating the same basic pattern over and over. At first, Zilent assumes it's equipment failure. The station sensors are old, maybe 50 years since their last major overhaul, and sometimes they pick up echoes from ancient transmissions bouncing around dead systems. That theory lasts about 10 minutes, because the signal isn't random static or some old recorded message playing on loop. It's mathematical sequences, prime numbers to be exact, 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13, the universal language that every intelligent species eventually discovers. Zilent calls his second-in-command Vexterra, a flowing, jellyfish-like creature who handles communications. Together, they verify the signal's authenticity 3 times. It's real, it's intentional, and it's coming from somewhere that shouldn't have intelligent life. See, the Galactic Cooperative has mapped every habitable system within 500 light years. They know where life exists, where it might exist, and where it definitely cannot exist. The signal is coming from the latter category, a star system so hostile that it's marked in their databases with warning symbols. The primary star is a violent, unstable beast that throws off radiation storms regularly. The planetary orbits are chaotic, constantly shifting due to gravitational interference from a massive gas giant that shouldn't exist where it does. The whole system is basically a cosmic shooting gallery where asteroids play bumper cars, and solar flares could sterilize a planet in minutes. No rational species would go anywhere near that system, let alone try to live there. The Cooperative's best xenobiologists agree that complex life couldn't evolve under those conditions. Too much chaos, too much radiation, too much of everything that makes life impossible. Yet there's a signal, broadcasting steadily from that nightmare neighborhood, like someone left their porch light on in the middle of a hurricane zone. Then, 3 days after the initial detection, something appears on their long-range sensors. Not another signal, but an actual physical object moving through space at incredible speed. When the computers calculate its propulsion signature, Zilent nearly falls off his crystalline perch. Chemical rockets, actual combustion-based propulsion, using controlled explosions to push through the vacuum of space. It's so primitive that the station's computer initially refuses to classify it as a spacecraft, insisting it must be some kind of natural phenomenon or maybe a very large projectile. But the object maintains course corrections, responds to gravitational influences like a piloted craft, and keeps broadcasting those mathematical sequences. Something is inside that flying museum piece, heading directly toward cooperative space using technology that belongs in an archaeology exhibit. The Galactic Cooperative hasn't encountered a new intelligent species in over 1,500 years. Their expansion has been so thorough, so careful, that they've cataloged every form of life in their region of the galaxy. New species just don't exist anymore, except now one does, flying toward them in a rocket ship and broadcasting prime numbers like it's the most natural thing in the universe. So 3 days after that mysterious signal appears, Ambassador Kretal gets the call of his lifetime. Now, Kretal isn't just any diplomat. He's a cooperative's top first contact specialist, a being who spent 2 centuries perfecting the art of greeting new species. Picture a graceful, ethereal creature that looks like living water mixed with starlight, and you're getting close to what Kretal actually looks like. The guy has handled first contact with 17 different species, and every single time, it's followed the same playbook. New species shows up, usually scared and confused. Kretal welcomes them with open arms, flowing appendages, and introduces them to the wonders of cooperative civilization. Everyone ends up happy, peaceful, and integrated into their galactic community. This time feels different from the moment that crude spacecraft limps into cooperative space. The thing looks like it was built in someone's garage using spare parts and determination. No elegant biocurves, no living home materials. Just plain metal welded together with what appears to be controlled explosions for propulsion. It's like watching someone arrive at a luxury car show driving a pickup truck held together with duct tape. But here's what really throws Kretal off. These newcomers actually know proper communication protocols. Their first transmission includes mathematical greetings, basic language matrices, and even a cultural gift exchange offer. Someone taught them etiquette, which means they're not just randomly wandering through space. The beings inside call themselves humans, and their leader, a creature named Tyler, speaks through translation software with surprising clarity. Tyler explains they're explorers from something called Earth, looking for trade opportunities and knowledge sharing. Standard new species introduction, right? This should be easy. Kretal activates the welcome protocol that's worked flawlessly for centuries. First, he transmits the cooperative's greeting package. Meditation crystals attuned to calming frequencies, harmony vibration sets for spiritual cleansing, and an all-expenses-paid invitation to Serenity Prime, the galaxy's premier wellness world. The crystals alone usually blow new species away. These aren't just pretty rocks. They're living geometric structures that resonate with your nervous system, instantly reducing stress and promoting inner peace. Most beings start crying tears of joy when they experience their first crystal meditation session. Tyler's response? That's really thoughtful, but we're okay. Thanks, though. Okay? They're okay? Kretal has to run the translation 3 times because surely something got lost in the language conversion. No species turns down crystal therapy. It's like declining free happiness. Then comes a wellness retreat offer. Serenity Prime isn't just any spa world. It's a planet-sized healing center where beings go to recover from the trauma of space travel, cleanse their energy patterns, and align their chakras with cosmic harmony. The waiting list usually runs about 50 years because everyone wants to experience ultimate peace. Tyler consults with his crew for a moment, then politely declines again. We appreciate it, but we're kind of used to rougher conditions. This is actually pretty comfortable for us. Rougher conditions? They're floating in the cold vacuum of space inside a metal, can power by explosions. How is this comfortable? That's when Tyler starts describing their home planet, and the translation software begins having what can only be described as a nervous breakdown. The computer keeps flagging terms as possible errors, requesting clarification, and occasionally just giving up and displaying question marks. According to Tyler, Earth has weather patterns that actively try to eliminate life, not just uncomfortable weather. Storms that can level entire cities, temperature swings that range from boiling to freezing, and something called hurricanes that are apparently spinning walls of destruction that regularly visit populated areas. Kreetal asks if they have climate control systems to manage these conditions. Tyler laughs, actually laughs, and explains that humans just live with it. They build stronger structures and develop warning systems, but mostly they just adapt. Then there are Earth's animals. Tyler describes creatures called bears, massive, furry predators that can run faster than most vehicles and regularly wander into human settlements. Lions that hunt in coordinated packs. Sharks that can smell blood from miles away and consider humans a potential meal. But wait, it gets worse. Tyler mentions something called Australia, which sounds like an entire continent designed by someone who really hates living things. Venomous spiders the size of dinner plates, snakes whose bite can kill in minutes, and crocodiles that haven't evolved in millions of years because they're already perfect killing machines. The translation software finally gives up completely when Tyler starts explaining Earth background radiation levels. According to him, their home planet is constantly bombarded by cosmic radiation that would sterilize most cooperative worlds within hours. Humans just developed better DNA repair mechanisms and learned to live with occasional mutations. At this point, Kreetal is wondering if this is an elaborate prank. Either his translation equipment is completely broken, or these humans evolved on a world so hostile that survival required becoming tougher than anything cooperative has ever encountered. When Tyler casually mentions that human children play outside despite all these dangers, and that families often vacation in places with active volcanoes or extreme weather for fun, Kreetal realizes something profound. These aren't just another species looking for peaceful integration. These are survivors from what can only be described as a literal death world, and they think their nightmare planet is normal. The welcome protocols suddenly seem ridiculous. How do you offer meditation crystals to beings who consider constant mortal danger a normal Tuesday? So now comes the fun part, actual cultural exchange. Ambassador Kreetal has arranged for the humans to dock at Station Delta 7 for what should be a standard meet-and-greet session. Show them around, introduce them to cooperative culture, maybe share some food and stories. Basic diplomacy stuff that usually goes smoothly, except nothing about these humans goes smoothly. First issue hits during the initial face-to-face meeting. Kreetal, being a polite host, suggests the humans might want to remove their environmental suits now that they're in a safe, climate-controlled environment. Standard procedure. Most species are eager to get out of their travel gear and stretch their natural forms. Tyler, the human spokesperson, looks confused for a moment. Environmental suits? He asks, glancing down at what Kreetal assumed was protective equipment. This is just our clothes and our skin. Their skin. Their actual biological skin that they're stuck wearing all the time. Kreetal has to process this for a moment because most cooperative species can adjust their outer layers, changing colors for communication, growing temporary protective scales, or simply shedding old skin for new. Humans are apparently locked into one permanent biological configuration. But here's the really weird part. Their skin looks like armor. Not metallic armor, but tough, scarred tissue that shows signs of constant repair. Blake, one of the human crew members, has what he casually calls just a few old injuries, marks that would indicate near-fatal trauma from most species. Tyler explains these are normal wear and tear from childhood activities like learning to ride bikes and playing outside. Then comes mealtime, and things get really interesting. Kreetal proudly presents the station's finest nutrient paste, a perfectly balanced, easily digestible meal that provides optimal nutrition without requiring any violence toward living creatures. It's what civilized beings eat. The humans stare at the glowing, gel-like substance with expressions that can only be described as polite horror. Tyler pokes it with a utensil, watches it jiggle, then asks the question that breaks Kreetal's brain. Is there anything with some meat on it? Meat. They want to consume the muscle tissue of dead animals. When Kreetal explains that the cooperative evolved beyond such primitive dietary requirements centuries ago, Blake actually looks disappointed. What about plants then? Like actual plants you can bite into? The station doesn't stock solid food because no civilized species needs to physically tear apart their meals with their teeth. But humans have these sharp, pointed teeth specifically designed for ripping and grinding organic matter. They're walking around with weapons in their mouths, and they use them 3 times a day. Things get really weird when Kreetal tries to explain cooperative conflict resolution. See, in their society, disagreements are handled through meditation circles where opposing parties sit together, breathe in harmony, and let their chakras align until they reach mutual understanding. It's peaceful, it's spiritual, and it works every time. The humans listen to this explanation with growing confusion. Kyle, who seems to be their security specialist, raises his hand like he's in school. What if the other person doesn't want to meditate? What if they just want to keep fighting? Keep fighting? The concept is so foreign that Kreetal's translation software struggles with it. In cooperative society, once someone suggests meditation, conflict automatically ends. Both parties want peace, so they find peace. Simple. But what if they don't want peace? Blake asks, and the question hangs in the air like a toxic cloud. Dawn, another human crew member, tries to help by offering examples. Like, what if someone breaks into your home? Do you invite them to meditate while they're stealing your stuff? The humans nod along like this makes perfect sense, while Kreetal feels his worldview cracking. That's when the universe decides to provide a practical demonstration. The station's alarms start blaring, not the gentle chimes used for routine announcements, but the urgent harmonics that indicate unwelcome visitors. Pirates have arrived, right on schedule for their monthly harassment visit. In cooperative space, pirates aren't really dangerous. They're more like cosmic protesters who board stations, file formal complaint about society's direction, maybe take a few harmony crystals to fund their lifestyle, then leave peacefully. Standard protocol kicks in immediately. All cooperative personnel begin moving toward the meditation chambers where they'll wait patiently for the pirates to complete their symbolic protest and departure. It's inconvenient, sure, but everyone knows the routine. The humans watch this evacuation with expressions of growing alarm. Where is everyone going? Tyler demands. To the meditation chambers, Kreetal explains calmly. The pirates will conclude their business and depart shortly. We simply wait. Wait for what? Kyle asks, and there's something in his voice that makes Kreetal nervous. For them to take what they want and leave, obviously. That's how these encounters work. Blake and Dawn exchange one of those human looks, the kind where entire conversations happen in seconds without words. Kyle starts asking questions that don't make sense. How many pirates? What kind of weapons do they carry? Where are your defensive positions? Defensive positions? We don't have defensive positions, Kreetal explains patiently. We have harmony projectors for stunning aggressive wildlife, but nothing designed to harm intelligent beings. The humans stare at him like he just announced that water is no longer wet. Then Tyler says something that changes everything. Mind if we handle this one? What happens next completely changes how everyone thinks about problem solving. The moment Tyler gives his crew that look. You know, the kind of silent communication that happens between people who've worked together for years. Everything shifts. These humans transform from friendly visitors into something else entirely. Kyle immediately starts moving through the station like he's got blueprints memorized. He's checking sight lines, identifying cover positions, and cataloging every piece of equipment that could be useful. Meanwhile, Blake is examining the mining lasers mounted near the cargo bay, running his hands over the controls like he's trying to figure out their power settings. Dawn positions herself near the main corridor in her section, and suddenly Kreetal realizes she's not just standing there randomly. She's controlling the entire traffic flow of the station. Anyone coming or going has to pass through her field of vision. It's like watching someone play three-dimensional chess while everyone else is playing checkers. The pirates arrive exactly as expected. There are 5 of them, typical cooperative citizens who've chosen the pirate lifestyle as a form of social protest. They're carrying the usual equipment, harmony disruptors to temporarily confuse station personnel, portable meditation mats for extended occupation, and complaint forms to file their grievances against modern society. Their leader, a purple, slug-like creature named Grixtal, announces their presence with a traditional pirate greeting. Citizens of Cooperative, we come seeking resources to fund our alternative lifestyle. Please gather in designated waiting areas while we conduct our symbolic redistribution of wealth. Standard stuff. Normally, Station personnel would already be in the meditation chambers, leaving the pirates to take whatever they wanted and file their paperwork in peace. Instead, they find Kyle standing in the main corridor, arms crossed, looking like he's guarding something important. Grixtal pauses, confused by this deviation from protocol. "Citizen," Grixtal says politely, "please proceed to the designated waiting area. We'll be finished shortly." Kyle's response breaks about 3,000 years of cooperative tradition. No. Just that. No explanation. No negotiation. No invitation to meditate together about it. Simply no. Delivered with a kind of calm confidence that suggests he's perfectly comfortable with whatever happens next. The pirates exchange confused glances. This isn't how these encounters work. Grixtal tries again, explaining that they're conducting a legitimate protest action, and everyone needs to follow established procedures. That's when Blake steps out from behind a mining laser that's suddenly pointing in a very different direction than it was 5 minutes ago. Dawn appears at the far end of the corridor, effectively boxing the pirates in. Tyler emerges from what appeared to be an empty side passage, and Josh materializes from somewhere that shouldn't have had enough room to hide a person. The pirates realize they're surrounded by beings who move like predators, smooth, coordinated, and completely comfortable with the concept of confrontation. This has never happened before in recorded cooperative history. What follows isn't really a fight, so much as a masterclass in tactical superiority. The humans don't use excessive force or cause unnecessary harm. Instead, they demonstrate something the cooperative has forgotten existed: the ability to solve problems through controlled application of pressure. When Grixtal tries to activate his harmony disruptor, Kyle simply takes it away from him. Not violently, not dramatically. He just removes it from the pirate's possession like a teacher confiscating a toy from a child. Blake redirects the mining laser to create a barrier that encourages the pirates to remain in one specific area of the corridor. Josh takes what appears to be a serious blow when one of the pirates panics and swings a heavy tool at him. The impact would hospitalize most cooperative species for weeks. Josh staggers, touches a spot where he was hit, and calmly announces that's going to bruise tomorrow, before continuing with whatever he was doing. Dawn gets knocked into a wall hard enough to leave a dent in the metal plating. She bounces off, shakes her head once, and asks, "Everyone okay? Anyone need assistance?" Like getting thrown into walls is just part of Tuesday's schedule. The whole situation resolves in about 10 minutes. The pirates find themselves gently but firmly escorted to their ship, their symbolic protest effectively neutralized without anyone getting seriously hurt. No meditation required, no extended negotiations, no filing of grievance forms. As the pirate ship departs, much faster than usual, the humans conduct what they call a debrief. They discuss what went right, what could be improved, and whether everyone sustained any injuries worth worrying about. Josh mentions his bruise. Dawn notes that the wall was harder than expected. Kyle suggests they should map the station's defensive positions more thoroughly. Watching this casual post-action analysis, Kreetal finally understands what he's dealing with. These humans didn't just survive their nightmare planet. They became the apex predators of their environment. Every single one of them carries a genetic memory of countless generations who had to fight, adapt, and overcome just to see another day. They handle conflict the way cooperative species handle breathing, naturally, efficiently, and without drama. Violence isn't something they seek out or enjoy. It's simply another tool in their problem-solving kit, like mathematics or engineering. The galaxy just met its first species that views aggression as a normal part of existence, and somehow, despite everything that should make them terrifying, they're still the good guys. So picture this. Within 48 hours of that pirate incident, every single monitoring station, trade hub, and diplomatic outpost in cooperative space knows about the humans. And I mean everyone. The story spreads like wildfire through their communication networks, getting bigger and more dramatic with each retelling. The initial reports are pretty straightforward. Unknown species successfully repels pirate raid using unconventional methods. But by the time the story reaches the outer colonies, it's become something else entirely. Humans are described as unstoppable warriors from a death world who can survive injuries that would vaporize normal beings and solve problems by punching them until they go away. The reactions across cooperative space are absolutely fascinating to watch. The gentle tide species, those flowing, peaceful beings who communicate through color changes, immediately call an emergency meditation session to process their feelings about the existence of violent problem solvers. Half of them are terrified, convinced that humans represent everything wrong with the universe. The other half are secretly intrigued by beings who can actually make problems disappear instead of just talking about them for decades. The crystal singers, who live on harmony worlds and spend their time creating beautiful music from living rock, have the most interesting reaction. They're convinced that humans represent some kind of cosmic balance, that the universe needed a species capable of discord to make their harmony more meaningful. Some of their philosophers start writing entire symphonies about the concept of beautiful violence. But it's the Traders Guild that really gets things moving. These are the practical beings who keep cooperative commerce running, and they immediately see the opportunities. Within a week, they're sending delegations to Station Delta 7, eager to meet these humans and figure out how to profit from their unique abilities. That's when Sam steps up. Now, Sam wasn't part of the original crew that handled the pirates, but he arrives on the second human ship as their official diplomat. And let me tell you, Sam is exactly what the situation needs. Someone who understands both human nature and galactic politics well enough to bridge the gap. Sam's first move is brilliant. Instead of trying to downplay human capabilities or make excuses for their violent problem-solving methods, he embraces it. He establishes something called the Defensive Coordination Council, the first military advisory group in cooperative history. The name alone causes half the galaxy to have nervous breakdowns because they haven't used words like military or defensive in centuries. But here's the genius part. Sam frames it as education, not aggression. Humans aren't trying to militarize a cooperative. They're offering to teach basic self-defense skills to species who've forgotten that such things exist. It's like offering swimming lessons to people who've never seen water. The response is overwhelming. Within months, representatives from dozens of species are arriving at human training facilities, eager to learn concepts like situational awareness and conflict resolution through strength. Most of them are terrible at it initially. Their bodies aren't designed for physical confrontation, and their minds aren't wired for tactical thinking. But some species surprise everyone, including themselves. The cooperative's medical technology absolutely amazes the humans. We're talking about healing techniques that can regrow limbs overnight, psychological therapy that can cure trauma in hours, and life extension treatments that make human medicine look like cave paintings. In exchange, humans offer something the cooperative didn't even know they needed: security services. The first protection contract is signed with a mining colony that's been getting harassed by raiders for years. Standard cooperative response was to file complaints and hope the raiders eventually got bored. Human response was to send Kyle and 2 other security specialists who solved the problem in 3 days. The raiders took one look at beings who weren't afraid of them and decided to find a different line of work. Trade agreements start popping up everywhere. Humans provide security consultation, defensive training, and problem-solving services in exchange for medical technology, advanced manufacturing techniques, and access to cooperative's vast scientific databases. It's the kind of mutually beneficial arrangement that everyone should have thought of centuries ago, except nobody else in the galaxy was capable of providing the security half of the equation. The real transformation becomes obvious when the first human embassy opens on Harmony Prime, the cooperative's capital world. Ambassador Kretal gets invited to the ceremony, and what he sees there changes his entire understanding of civilization. The embassy building itself is a perfect blend of human and cooperative architecture. Flowing biocurves reinforced with human-designed defensive positions, beautiful gardens with clear sight lines, and meditation spaces that can be quickly converted to secure areas if needed. It's peaceful and practical at the same time, which shouldn't be possible, but somehow works perfectly. Standing at his office window after the ceremony, Kretal watches human patrol ships taking positions at the edge of the system. They're not threatening or aggressive, just quietly present, like cosmic security guards, making sure everyone can continue their peaceful lives without interruption. For 3,000 years, the cooperative built their civilization on a simple principle: avoid conflict and it will avoid you. They created a galaxy so peaceful that they forgot conflict could exist. Now they have neighbors who understand that sometimes peace has to be defended, and the galaxy feels more secure than it ever has before. The universe just became infinitely more interesting, and somehow these Deathworlders made it safer too.